Daniel grew up in a small, forgotten town in America where broken roads and crumbling houses reflected the broken dreams of the people who lived there. And every day was a struggle just to survive, as his family often went to bed with empty stomachs, sometimes without electricity to keep the lights on or heat during the winter. But what Daniel lacked in comfort, he carried in raw determination, because deep inside he promised himself that his story would not end in the same hopeless cycle that trapped so many around him. Waking up before the sun each morning to walk miles to school in worn-out shoes with holes, carrying a backpack stitched together with tape, often laughed at by other kids, and even ignored by teachers who believed he would never make it. But Daniel refused to believe their words, and held on to a stubborn faith that he was meant for something more, staying late in the library whenever he could, and reading old books by candlelight when the power at home was cut off. Every page fueling his imagination, and every story teaching him that the world was bigger than his small town and his pain. Yet life continued to test him when he was only 16, and his father became gravely ill, leaving the family drowning in hospital bills that swallowed the little money they had, forcing Daniel to grow up faster than most kids as he worked small jobs sweeping floors, carrying heavy boxes at a local store, and washing dishes late at night just to keep the household alive, his body exhausted but his spirit refusing to bend, even when rejection after rejection poured in when he applied for scholarships and programs, each letter telling him he wasn't good enough, each denial trying to crush his hope. But he reminded himself that failure wasn't the end. It was just one step on the long road to success. And so he kept pushing, he kept studying, and he kept fighting, until one day, everything changed when a letter arrived from a university that saw beyond his poverty and gave him a chance. Not because he was the smartest or richest, but because his determination spoke louder than his circumstances. And though this acceptance felt like a miracle, the struggle did not magically disappear because tuition was still high and books were still expensive. So Daniel worked extra shifts while attending classes, skipping meals to save money, and sometimes studying in the quiet corner of a diner after midnight, because it was warmer there than his own apartment. But instead of complaining, he turned the pain into fuel, telling himself that every sacrifice was an investment in the future he had dreamed of as a child, slowly raising his grades, slowly earning respect, and slowly opening doors that once seemed locked forever. And as the years passed, his journey became living proof that resilience is stronger than despair, that hope carries more weight than fear, and that the human spirit can rise even when the world tries to break it. For Daniel was no longer just the boy from a forgotten town, but a man who had built himself piece by piece through relentless willpower, and his life became a shining example to others who felt trapped in poverty or hardship, reminding them that while life will always bring pain, suffering becomes optional when you refuse to give up, because dreams are not built in comfort but in struggle. And true strength is born when you stand tall after every fall. And Daniel's story teaches us all that no matter how dark your night may seem, the sun will rise again if you keep moving toward it.